Hey everybody out there, it's Dr. Eric hollering at you again. Hey listen, I wanted to share with you some information about a meeting I just had. I'm still actually sitting in the parking lot out front of this doctor's office. There's a well-known pediatrician here in the St. Louis area. They also have offices in Illinois as well. And we're looking to get into a relationship with them. But before we did that, I had to know where they stood on a couple issues because, our philosophy is all about find, number one, the imbalances in the body that cause a problem. Number two, correct it. And then the body's an amazing thing and it'll heal itself from whatever problem you may have. And I needed to make sure that these people jived with that. And it turns out that they do, except for on a couple issues. And one of them was actually vaccines and flu shots. And I wanted to know, what their approach was to it. And they informed me, they said, listen, we're pediatricians. We have to abide by what's called best practices protocols, which means if we don't recommend certain things on a certain schedule, we can actually be held liable if a person gets a disease, even though the risk factors are very minimal for most of them, especially things like chicken pox and, flu shots and that. And the doctor even said that themselves. And they said if they don't recommend it and that person gets the, the disease without getting the shot, that doctor can be held liable and they can lose their license, they lose their ability to practice, they lose their livelihood, their income, the whole nine yards. So I thought, man, what a crazy world we live in. And he says, but what we can do is we can inform people so that they can make their own decisions. And I thought, man, you're totally speaking my language because that's exactly what we do. We're all about educating you so that you can empower yourselves on what's right and what's wrong. And we just talked about the flu shot and just some basic stuff about it because they have, even on the door, they have their propaganda and it says, ask us about the flu shot. And I asked them, I said, so what do people normally ask you about the flu shot? And typically they say that 90% of the people that come into their office don't ask any questions at all. They just get their shot. They just do what they're told. And that's the deal. And I said, well, would you rather them do that? Or would you rather them ask questions? He says, honestly, I'd rather them ask questions. But some people, I'd rather them just come in and get their treatment. I said, I can totally understand that. But the reality of it is we were talking a little bit, and I made some notes here that I wanted to share with you. We were talking about the flu shot and about the vaccine, or about the mercury-free stuff. And I shared this with him, and he was blown away. We even pulled out one of the pamphlets that had one of his mercury-free flu shots in it, the thermosol-free flu shot, and it still showed that there was 300 parts per billion of mercury in that. And he's like, wait a minute. We tell pregnant mothers and kids not to eat a lot of certain types of fish that have high levels of mercury in them, like farm-raised tuna has a high level of, if you're going to get tuna, it needs to be fresh raised, not farm-raised. And he said that we recommend, 200 parts per billion or less because it's unsafe if you get that high. And I said, I know. The guy was blown away when we showed him on the insert. And this is an open-minded thinking doctor, a doctor who doesn't just go with the flow because that's what they do. This guy literally took that packet, opened it up and goes, holy crap, it's right there on the form that there's still mercury in there. And he felt that he was lied to. The pediatrician felt he was lied to because when he bought that stuff from the pharmaceutical reps, when they drop shipped the stuff to him to give his injection, they said this is the mercury-free form. Well, according to the CDC and FDA, as long as it's below, if it has just trace amounts of mercury in a thermosol, like the thermosol free, which has 300 parts per billion, which is way higher than you're supposed to have on a daily basis for an adult, let alone a child. They said, well, it's still considered mercury free. So again, the myth that really people need to know is that there is still thermosol in flu shots, especially the ones that you do up the nose. They have more than anything. And the flu shot that is not mercury free has up to 25,000 parts per billion of thermosol, which is a ridiculous amount. And again, we're talking about, not ingesting it orally. We're talking about injecting it. When you take, mercury orally, like if you eat some tuna with mercury in it, you have a liver and you have a stomach and you have acids and you have all this stuff in your intestines and everything filters that out. When it goes into your bloodstream through a shot, it's into your bloodstream. No filters or minimal filters. So that's why people get sick after the flu shot. So if you're considering a flu shot, All I'm saying is get educated. Again, I don't care what you do as long as you make an informed decision. I don't want anybody infringing upon my rights to decide what I do for myself and my family's health, nor would I want anybody doing the same for you. So I want you to get educated. I want you to educate before you do anything else. Find out the cause of a problem and fix it. And do you need these things like a flu shot? You know? And if you want to talk about real true health and wellness, I want to encourage you to plug in to our radio program that we do every Sunday at 3 on 97.1 FM News Talk at 3 p.m. St. Louis, Missouri time. You know, we're on there and we're talking about health, wellness. We're answering questions. We're getting real. We're interviewing doctors, getting to the truth of the problem. You know, it's just crazy how much non-common sense thinking is out there, and we're all about putting common sense back into healthcare. So love and appreciate y'all. Thanks for your time. Have a great rest of the day. I'll talk to you soon.